Coming up on First at 4, one Eastern Kentucky county is awarded a grant for a new campground project. Plus, at least 3 people are dead after a school shooting in St. Louis, Missouri.
And a beautiful day today as temperatures get well above 70 degrees, but there are changes on the way this week. Those details coming up as Mountain News First at 4 starts right now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, some big news for Perry County announced last week at the SOAR Summit in Pikeville. The county was awarded a $1.5 million grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission for the Rowdy Trailhead and Campground project. Right now, the campground site is being used for flood debris, but the 10-acre site will serve as the county's trailhead for ATVs in the county, and the trail connects counties like Breathitt, Knott, Floyd, and Magoffin.
We're really tearing down those walls of East Kentucky and Appalachian. We know that we're in it together. So yes, we have to work together. We're going to continue to grow the trails too. You know, that'll go from 75 here in a few years to 150 miles of trail.
The project will create 38 jobs, and more than 24,000 overnight stays are estimated in the first year. Trick-or-treating can be a fun Halloween activity for children and families to enjoy, but before anyone begins eating the candy, there are a few things to keep in mind. Trooper Matt Gayhart with Kentucky State Police Post 13 says caregivers should always do a visual inspection of their kids' Halloween candy. You should throw away any candy that is already open or looks tampered with, and for candy that has resealable ends, caregivers should be weary of giving it to kids unless the candy came from a reputable source.
It's a lot easier to manipulate that, open it up slightly, put whatever substance you're wanting to put inside, simply close it back and twist it off. And it makes it really, really hard to determine whether this has been tampered with or not.
Trooper Gayhart adds, with fentanyl gaining more popularity and given how potent it is, it would not be a bad idea to wear gloves while looking through your kids' candy.
Well, it feels like April outside rather than October as we continue to see temperatures well into the 70s as we run through the region this afternoon. There's a look from London Corbin Airport. They're at 77. A look outside the front door here at WYMT. Just a few high clouds sneaking in. 77 the reading here as well. Pikeville's at 74. The Pikeville Medical Center camera, a beautiful shot out there this afternoon. And we are mild. How about 78 Manchester, Irvin, 79 in Somerset. So we are well above average. We should be in the low 60s this time, or at least the mid 60s this time of year. And we are at least 10 degrees above that in many spots this afternoon. Even Wise checking in at 70. You see those high clouds, though, moving in. We're starting to see that cold front out to the west. Some of those clouds begin to work in ahead of it as we run through the evening. So as we head into tonight, clouds will continue to increase, only around 50. An overnight low tonight with those winds on the calm side. More coming up on when we see the return of some rain showers, and if we could see a few thunderstorms as well. That's in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. Some sad entertainment news breaking this afternoon. Actor and comedian Leslie Jordan has died. Jordan was involved in a car crash, likely suffering a medical emergency, around 12:45 this afternoon. The Emmy-winning actor and Tennessee native starred in several movies and television series, but is probably best known for his roles in Will and Grace and American Horror Story. And he gained an unexpected new following during the pandemic with his funny stories and music on social media. Leslie Jordan was 67. 3 people are dead after a shooting at a high school in St. Louis, Missouri. The St. Louis Police Commissioner says the 3 dead are an adult, a girl, and the shooter. The shooting took place at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. It happened around 10 o'clock this morning. No word yet on a possible motive. Russia is doubling down on its insistence that Ukraine is planning to detonate a dirty bomb on its own people. Both the U.S. and Ukraine say the claim is patently false. CBS's Deborah Alfarone reports from Washington.
In a news conference Monday, Russia's foreign minister reaffirmed a Russian claim that Ukraine plans to drop a radioactive dirty bomb on its own territory.
Конкретная информация относительно тех.
We have concrete information regarding Ukrainian scientific institutes having technologies which allow them to make a dirty bomb, said Sergei Lavrov. It's not an unfounded suspicion.
Яке стало мішенью вчорашньої російської.
But in a televised address, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said if Russia calls and says that Ukraine is allegedly preparing something, it means only one thing, that Russia has already prepared all of it.
Кроме того,
The head of Russia's Radiation, Chemical, and Biological Protection Forces warned the dirty bomb is in the final stage of creation, and the Russian military says its forces are ready. A dirty bomb has never been used before. It's not a nuclear explosion and would be far less harmful. But by using conventional explosives to spread radioactive material, it's an effective weapon of terror and could contaminate a city for years. In a joint statement, the U.S., U.K., and France rejected Russia's, quote, transparently false allegations as a pretext for escalation. Now, the U.S. has repeatedly accused Russia of staging violent incidents as an excuse for its invasion, what's known as a false flag operation. Russian forces have rapidly lost territory in Ukraine and have recently switched tactics, targeting Ukraine's power grid. About 100,000 U.S. troops are in Europe, many participating in NATO nuclear training drills currently underway, some along Romania's border with Ukraine. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has stressed Ukraine is managing to shoot down most of Russia's cruise missiles and drones following a barrage of attacks carried out Saturday. During his nightly address, Volodymyr Zelensky alluded to the geographical scale of the attacks, calling it very wide. He highlighted several towns as examples of areas that were targeted as part of the massive strikes. Ukrainian officials believe Russian attacks are being carefully orchestrated to target important infrastructure as Ukraine heads into winter by hitting thermal power stations, electricity substations, transformers, and pipelines. Russian forces have been directly impacting Ukraine's ability to access power, water, and the internet. A new era is about to begin in the United Kingdom. Rishi Sunak will be Britain's new Prime Minister once he's officially appointed by King Charles III. He addressed Conservative members of Parliament today. The 42-year-old will be the youngest person in the position in more than 2 centuries. He will also be the first Hindu and person of color to serve as Prime Minister in the UK. Sunak is going in after outgoing Prime Minister Liz Truss resigned last week, holding the position for only about 6 weeks. So far, Sunak has been relatively quiet about his policy plans for the future, but analysts say he appears more moderate than other recent candidates. British parents who have been fighting for justice since their 19-year-old son was killed 3 years ago gave their first U.S. interview to CBS Mornings following last week's guilty plea in the case. On Thursday, an American woman admitted she struck and killed Harry Dunn with her car while he was riding his motorcycle in the English countryside. Shortly after the crash, she fled the country, claiming diplomatic immunity. CBS's Naomi Ruckham reports from New York.
You can't take a life and not answer for that. You know.
The parents of Harry Dunn, who was killed 3 years ago riding his motorcycle in Britain, appeared on CBS Mornings in their first U.S. interview since American Ann Sekulis pleaded guilty to causing their son's death by careless driving.
We'd lost everything. We'd had everything taken from us.
Sekulis, who was working for a U.S. intelligence agency at the time, was driving on the wrong side of the road when the crash happened. She claimed diplomatic immunity and flew back to America.
Whether you kill somebody intentionally or unintentionally, as Ann Sekulis did, you know, accountability still needs to be had. You can't just simply decide to walk away and expect us to move forward as a family.
The judge directed that Sekulis, a mother of 3, attend the sentencing in person, but it's unclear if she will. Dunn's parents say they do not want to separate Sekulis from her children.
The likeliness of having a jail sentence imposed is very, very slim. So she could literally just, you know, come over, get this done that
And then
should have been
fly
done
back.
3 years ago and come home to her children.
Harry's parents say the ordeal has taken a toll on their mental health, but their son was worth the fight. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Tsoukalos attended Thursday's hearing remotely by a video link from Washington. The judge told her that she had shown remorse by pleading guilty and by taking part in the court process, which she was not compelled to do. Coming up on First at 4, Chinese leader Xi Jinping has emerged from a twice-a-decade Communist Party Congress stronger than ever after securing a third term as party boss.
And clouds are on the increase tonight and tomorrow as changes make their way into the forecast. The breakdown of rain chances coming up.